Hi, everybody. JJ here. Welcome back. Well, Donald Trump just can't seem to quit Elon Musk's SpaceX, even though he really wants to after their feud of this year. But it's not that easy. Has Elon got Trump trapped here into giving a lot of government money to SpaceX? That's the story we're going to get into today. But before we get into that, I saw this comment here. Hi, JJ. Everybody here, referring to my opening that I do thought that was quite funny. But back to the story. This is Donald Trump trying to get rid of SpaceX after their massive feud that continues. Elon really ripping into Trump with, the Epstein files allegations. I've just done one video on that actually. Might as well show you that here. I'm going to put a link in the pinned comment to this on the politics channel. As I said, new channel. So if you're interested in that, go and have a check of this. But back to this. It says here that now that he's in the find out stage, this is Trump, he's discovering it's not as easy as he thought to get rid of SpaceX contracts. Obviously, Elon will be reasonably happy about this. Trump administration staff is tasked with reviewing SpaceX's government contracts, believe that terminating them would have a serious impact on both NASA and the Defense Department, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal. And the Defense Department, the defense budget, Doge didn't touch that. In fact, Trump administration has raised that to over $1 trillion. So there's no end of money here for the defense program, that's for sure. The story here, this is the original story, the Wall Street Journal, no less, says Trump aides discussed ending some SpaceX contracts, but found most were vital. I guess that's a matter of opinion. The Starship that we've seen blow up, Elon can't seem to actually get that into Earth's orbit with a reasonable payload. There's been a banana, but that was probably fried on re-entry. Can't even orbit the Earth, and it's supposed to go to Mars. So that is seemingly a waste of taxpayers' money so far. But the fallout between the president and the rocket maker's billionaire founder threatened the company's multi-billion-dollar agreements with the government. Yes, it did, and that was the breakup day there where they said thanks, and Trump gave him a key, a ridiculous key in the Oval Office, and then they started fighting almost a day later when Elon had had time to think about it. For the US government, breaking up with Elon Musk is easier said than done. That's the crux of it here. Just days after President Trump in early June raised the prospect of cutting ties with Musk businesses, the Trump administration initiated a review of SpaceX's contracts with the federal government. The review was intended to identify potential waste in the multi-billion-dollar agreements the company has with the government, the people said. So SpaceX is a fair chunk of Elon Musk's wealth too. So Trump thinking ways to hurt Elon, and this is a way to do it. But yes, those ties with the government are pretty solid and expensive too. But Trump administration officials determined they couldn't eliminate most of those contracts because they were crucial to the Defense Department and NASA. The early assessment underscored the company's dominance as the world's preeminent rocket launcher and a major satellite internet provider. So this is the problem. He's got that growing network of satellites that is Starlink as well. Thousands and thousands. So he does dominate space that way. And when we talk about Tesla, I talk about Tesla a lot on this pod, and that does look shaky. It's looking more shaky, but SpaceX is different. Even if he lost Tesla, he'd still have SpaceX, and it seems to be, lodged firmly within the government as well. A White House official said the review of government contracts focused on a range of companies with lucrative government contracts. Musk and SpaceX didn't respond to requests for comment. No kidding. There's no surprise there. SpaceX's scorecard, the Wall Street Journal says here, Musk was once one of Trump's closest advisors overseeing the cost-cutting effort known as the Department of Government Efficiency. But the relationship between the two men ruptured after the billionaire publicly criticized Trump's signature tax and spending bill. Didn't like the spending bill. Doesn't mind a lot of money being spent on SpaceX. And when they were doing Doge, as I said, he didn't cut anything from his own companies, of course, nothing from the contracts that SpaceX has or Tesla, but the tax credit is being deleted. So Tesla are in more trouble than SpaceX is. So can Trump find some way to cut SpaceX out of the loop more than it has? Now, on June 5th, as Musk's social media attacks turned personal and accusing Trump of being in the Epstein files, which I think does anybody deny that at this point? Only Trump, only Trump really is. Trump posted on Truth Social that the easiest way to save federal dollars was to terminate the government contracts for Musk companies. And this is what Trump is doing. You treat me well, I'll treat you well. Crony capitalism. Days later, a senior General Services Administration official asked the Defense Department to fill out a spreadsheet with all of its current SpaceX contracts and other transaction agreements, according to an email described to the Wall Street Journal. So it's not looking good for getting rid of contracts for SpaceX or anything significant. So instead of terminating SpaceX contracts after reviewing the data, White House and agency officials, including those at the Pentagon, determined that most of the deals were vital to the missions of the Defense Department and NASA. Some SpaceX contracts could face continued scrutiny. Well, it's actually interesting that they're saying this. The Defense Department, it raises questions about what SpaceX is doing with the Defense Department, apart from the kind of space race to get to Mars, and getting all their satellites in space. It's got to be the satellite network is a part of it. But Musk has not said much about being involved in defense, say like a company like Palantir has, which has its roots in that. But SpaceX really does. So Musk has been kind of clever to get himself into this position, really. SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell met with White House officials in recent weeks as the review was ongoing. So Musk's dominance in space, in struggling to find ways to reduce the government's dependence on SpaceX, the Trump administration highlighted how much agencies rely on the company's sophisticated technology. At least for now, the government has limited alternatives for many rocket launches and low Earth orbit satellite services, a situation that continues to give SpaceX and Musk himself an outsized role in space. And that's really the crucial crux of it, that Elon is being dominant. He's taking a lot of government money. A lot of people are saying, well, the money's coming from Starlink for the Starship launches. Not the case. SpaceX is getting a great deal of money from the government and continues to. And Trump himself, who really wants to get rid of Elon and fight against Elon now, can't seem to be doing that. So it's a tough situation for the Trump administration. By the way, if you're getting value out of this episode so far, I'd really appreciate it if you remember to hit that like button to help the algorithm to spread to more people. That would be good. Thanks. And so, yes, we have the situation here where Elon has a tight grip on it. So this year, the company has won more government contracts and continued working on major missions following the spat between the president and Musk. In April, SpaceX was awarded the most money, get this, the most money in launches under a closely watched Pentagon contract, winning 28 national security flights in a deal valued at $5.9 billion. It launched an upgraded GPS satellite for the Space Force, which is a Trump initiative in his last term. Remember that, Space Force? NASA is planning to have SpaceX fly a new crew to the International Space Station at the end of this month. So yes, getting to Mars is a different story than these, more mundane, or have become mundane kind of flights. Having real trouble with Starship, but other flights and deploying satellites, and they do have a hold on it. It seems like the Pentagon was saying to Trump, we need SpaceX, and this is why Elon has been so dominant in space so far. But the mission to Mars is a whole different story altogether. It remains to be seen whether that's going to work. It seems like a fantasy at this point, as predictions are way off, have been way off, continue to be way off, and Starship has had some disaster flights. They say it's just testing, but how many times can they iterate and blow taxpayers' money before they get some more success than they have? What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think that Trump should be able to get out of these contracts? Is it even possible at this point? Or even if Tesla goes down, will SpaceX remain and some of Musk's wealth? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think will happen? I'm going to put a related video right there. Do go and see that now if you want to. And a subscribe link on screen. Do subscribe if you're not already. If you're following this channel, watch it sometimes, haven't subscribed yet. Do subscribe to get more of these kinds of videos from me in the future. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.